Hi y'all, welcome back to my shop. Today we're going to talk about making small round lathe tools out of a piece of 1/4 inch, 8-inch long piece of high-speed steel tool bit blank from Inco. I'll give you the information on where to get this stuff toward the end of the video when we get ready to, when we talk about making them. In this first video we're going to I'm going to show you how to use and make this 1/4 inch skew. In the next video, the second video, we're going to talk about how to use and make a point tool from the same bar. And in the third video, I've got several versatile little tools that can be made from the 1/4 inch. We'll talk about that in that third video. Okay, that's got it. Now let's give it a try. Okay, I want to show you some of the cuts with this little 1/4 inch round skew. It's good for a planing cut. We're talking about on real fine, small types of things such as finials. The planing cut does very well. This is a fairly large piece of wood. I said large is relative, but I mean if we're doing something small, say 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, you'd see how even more practical it would be. But clearly, because it is round, it gives you a nice, easy to roll surface. And I find it a lot more forgiving than on planing cuts than regular skew, because it seems like it doesn't make a lot of difference what that you get in the middle third or the bottom third. It doesn't seem to get you that skate back that other skews do if you stay off the bottom third. And clearly that's where you normally cut with a skew, is the bottom third. In this case you can, it seems to, because it's so small, it seems to be braced fairly well and doesn't seem to get many skate backs. That's one cut, the planing cut. The other one that all skews excel at, and that's the V-cut. There's very few tools that will do as well as the V-cut, although a little bit later, I think maybe in another video in part of this series that I'm doing, I'll show you another tool that will do V-cuts. So that's the second cut. The third one is a rolling bead. Personally, I find this just a little bit grabby. Maybe it's because I don't do a lot of beads with this tiny little skew. And I'm going to show you better, in my mind, the tool that I find easier. I won't say it's better, but in my mind I find it easier. But you can do very nice beads with this. Now we're using the toe, but we could also do a V-cut here. We could do use the toe rather than the heel and knock it off. The other, so there's two cuts. Another cut that's probably not as practical for this, but you might see an operation for it. It's just your normal planing cut with a skew. You might find yourself in a situation doing a finial where you need to reduce. You could go and reach for a parting tool, but if you got this in your hand, it will do a good job as well. The other cut, now I'll go ahead and try it, and that's the facing cut. Actually, I was not going to include that, but it will seem to do that just as well on small items where you're facing something square like this. So I guess what I'm discovering here is you can use this small skew for about anything you would use a larger skew for, except for smaller work, of course. But it won't. Got a little bit of a catch there because I lost double contact. But the nicest thing about it, I think, is because it is round for small work, it doesn't catch, it slides along very easily, and you can get into some very nice little, get into some details, like say, you want to make a little fillet there. Easy to get in. And you could do long coves, I suppose. Long gentle, so that would work out well on finials. So I think this is a very nice tool. If you can mount it in a handle with some type of collet, you get some real advantages, because when you do use the 8-inch long by 1/4-inch high-speed steel blank from Inco, you know, you can always turn it around and have a tool on each end. And in this case, a little bitty blunt spindle gouge I made. So that's the cuts that the Skew will make. Now let's look at another tool. Okay, let me show you how to shape that 1/4-inch Skew. We're going to start off with this 1/4-inch by 8-inch piece of high-speed steel bar from Inco. I've got my platform set up at about 20 degrees, but you know, you can control this. If your platform's not like this, you can control it with your hands. But the first thing we're going to do is use a coarse wheel. Now I happen to have CBN wheels, but aluminum oxide, no problem. They'll work just as well. You want to use your coarse wheel for the fast, rapid steel removal, and then you can fine tune it on your finer grit wheel. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll give this a spin because the wheels are so heavy. So first thing we're going to do is grind it like basically a screwdriver screwdriver tip to start. For those of y'all not used to a CBN wheel, you're not going to see the sparks fly off of it like you would aluminum oxide. That's just the nature of the wheel. You can't judge how fast it's going by sparks. The CBN tends to run a little bit cooler, I think, than aluminum oxide. So I'm going to compare the sides, make sure I'm getting them fairly even. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn this at a 70 degrees. Let me change the rest. We're going to so basically we're going to grind the Skew part of it at 70 degrees. I'm going to lower the platform. I've got a scribe line here 40 degrees, so I know it needs to be a little bit sharper than that. So with one of the flats of the screwdriver, so to speak, flat on the table, and I think we about got it. Now all we've got to do is, don't know if you can see that, I'm going to go back to the 20 degree setting, and with the skewed angle parallel with the floor, I'm going to evenly go back and forth on both sides, taking turns. I've got a little stick that shows me 20. And that gives me a pretty good feel for this. And I think That's good. So now, holding it one of the screwdriver flats up and flat on the table, I'm just going to, with the part parallel with the floor, just gonna mostly get rid of the fatter part and then bring it down to the middle. Checking my progress, getting it fairly evenly. Bevel sliding just a little bit there. Good. Rotate in the other direction. Get a little warm. I'm going to stick it in the water. It's not going to hurt it. It's not that hot. It's more for the comfort of my hands than anything else. Getting close. Now you want to alternate to keep it even on each side. Okay, that's got it. Here's an alternative shape to a skew. Now this is a 5/16. I could only find these in 4.5 inches, but I do like the size a little bit. But what I did was flatten the end on both sides before I made a skew. As a result, I can get a little bit finer tip, and it looks a little more conventional. Other than that, it's about the same, so that's a possibility. Alright, so where do you get this stuff from? I'm going to put the address here for Inco. This is the only place I have found that you can get this 1/4 inch by 8 inch. You can get it in smaller blanks or thicker blanks, but to get the 8 inch piece, it's the best bargain. It's only about $3.50 plus shipping. So get several of them, share them with your friends, get together on a group buy. Now, one of the things you can do with this 8 inch block, you can cut it in half. You can see in this picture what it looks like relative to size, but you can, with a 4 inch piece, you can make tools, especially if you use a handle with a collet where you can reverse the thing such as this, which becomes very, very handy. Another source for a small blank, 2.5 inches, is if you got a Harbor Freight nearby. I'll put the model number here, but you can get this little package of 5-piece M2 high-speed steel mini tool bits. Several of these others could be useful for other things too. I've made a little parting tool out of this, and I've made a chatter tool out of it, so there's different things you can use that for. These you can put in a hollowing tool. But it has this 2.5-inch piece. It's a little small for some tools, but I have used it for a little cove tool. So if you got a Harbor Freight nearby, I think this thing is about $5. You can go out and grab this and give it a try and get started while you're waiting on your Inco supplies to come in.